What's up, everybody? This is Lazy Talks with Kinky. Um, Today on this topic, we kind of wanted to touch on valuing yourself. I recently got triggered, and that's why this topic popped up. And I don't know, it's something I shouldn't have got triggered over, knowing things that I know. And I want to talk about it just in case this is something that could also help somebody else out.
I guess we just gonna start talking about the topic.
I don't know, at least if you had something to say.
I mean, I feel like the topic is applicable to everybody. Like everybody, especially right now with COVID, everybody's trying to find their own little creative outlets and focusing on the things that we enjoy, etc., etc. And I mean, we already know like a lot of our world right now is based on the internet anyway. So, we know that people can say harsh things intentionally and unintentionally, and it'll bug you. And I think that this topic's important because of that, because it's kind of like important to always remember, like, regardless of everybody else, like, yes, it's good to look at others for support and uplifting and etc. Yeah, confirmation. But at the end of the day, like, you can't allow how other people feel about what you enjoy or what you are doing to really affect the value, like your feelings on the value of whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is that you're trying to put out into the world. It's important to like kind of like be narcissistic when it comes to your own talents and your own like abilities and desires, like not like in a terrible toxic way, of course, but just in a way to where like nobody can come through and
At a healthy
take you
level,
take you off.
a healthy level of confidence in what you're doing, but not so much narcissistic.
No, I meant what I said, narcissistic.
But yeah, and the topic kind of came about because for those who have been tuning in, we're new to the whole podcasting scene and everything. So we're trying to build something around here. And I've reached out to some people, and it didn't seem like it was something that they were interested in doing. And to me, with the conversation that was had, it
Conversations, because it was more than one conversation, right? Like it was multiple people.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
with the conversation that was had, it just pulled off as, I don't see how this would bring value to me. And I could just be reading in between the lines here, and there's not anything there. But like I said, again, in the beginning, I did get triggered. So I could be wrong. But the way these different conversations came out to me as what we were doing couldn't bring anybody else value with our platform. And that touched me a different type of way. That touched me rubbed me in the wrong way. But just because those people didn't see what we're doing as anything valuable
To them,
that doesn't devalue what I or Kinky or what any of you have started putting in place and been working towards. Because on the same token of the 3 or 4 no's I've gotten, I've also gotten quite a few yeses that really honestly have outnumbered the no's. And that's really important too. I got triggered by no's, but when you got
so many different yeses.
so like 10 yeses to 4 no's, it's like why are you focusing on the negative? Be happy with the yeses that you got and rock with those people because they do see value in you. And don't sit there and focus on the people that don't see value in you. That's their problem. At least you do have a number of people that do see value, your value, and are willing to try to jump out on a limb for you and help you out and support each other.
And I feel like another thing that's like kind of important is like to make a point of is most of the time, like when people, in my experience, when people can't find, especially when like, because some people they don't really have a reason, like, you know, there's people that can come to you and or you can go to and you'll express what you have to express, and then they'll be like, okay, like I see, you know, this and that, but this isn't a good fit for me because XYZ. And it's like, all right, whatever. But then you also have to understand that some people are just going to tell you no because they've been told no. And like there are people who will, like, who do prefer to kind of make others or kind of watch others kind of squirm in a specific place in a what they consider a stagnant spot to try to move forward just because that's what happened to them and that's what they're used to. But I feel like it's like important to point out that like if you can't like the whole way that anybody progresses is through networking, through for just about anything. And if that people can't understand that like sometimes that networking, sometimes that footwork, sometimes that ground building with others, you know, you can do everything you can do everything by yourself for 20 years and still be in the same spot. And the person who started up a week ago, who had 7 other friends that wanted to help them, have made it to your spot that it took you 20 years to get to. So I feel like it's important to keep in mind another, like, also that, like, just because somebody's telling you no, you know, even if you're just like, well, like, what you're saying no to doesn't really make any sense. I don't really get why you're saying no, you know, or I don't, like, okay, you said this is why you don't see the value, but here's another point that I raised to how I can kind of counter that to bring it value to you now. So that because I want you to be a part of this, sometimes you just got to accept that no with the fact that some people just don't want that help. They want to be able to say, I did this on my own.
And I did it my way.
Yeah, my way. And that's what got me to where I am. We were talking, I had a conversation like that with D once. We were talking about that. Kind of wish he was here for that sentence. If you listening, I thought about you.
Well, it definitely, the different conversation did rub me the wrong way because it was kind of a lot of people that will say no. It was very in specific different type of conversations with them saying no. It was kind of contradictory to what they were saying, and without going too deep into it, this information that we're sharing with you guys, it's universal. And the way I'm using the term universal, this means this goes with your next door neighbor, this goes with your mom, this goes with your friends. It doesn't matter if the people in your life do not see the value that you're putting out, then it is what it is. Seek the validation for the people that actually is trying to give it to you, but don't go chasing people that don't seem to if they're not on the same level as you thinking wise, then don't try to seek validation from those type of people. They might not be there yet. Y'all might not be on the level. Maybe one day they'll get to that level, but don't burn your energy and your mental focusing on a negative no, especially when you can get so many positive yeses.
Yeah, that's really a big point. Because that's one thing that like our brains tend to do is they tend to focus on the negative despite. So even when you know, like, oh, it doesn't even make any sense for me to be upset about this, like, you're still gonna be upset because it's like that's how your brain is. Your brain's just gonna be like, nah, fuck that. Like, this is terrible. This, you know, this person's either terrible or I'm terrible. One of the two, something's terrible. Trying not to take it too much trying not to be demotivated, and just nipping relationships. Like, this is not even just like necessarily with the topic, but I feel like it kind of still applies. Like, just nipping relationships in the bud that you know aren't going to help you progress, and you just keep holding on to them because you don't really know why, or that person even doesn't know why. Like, you notice that somebody doesn't want to be around you and they just come around, or you have somebody you're engaging with that you don't want to engage with, and it's kind of just like, we all adults, we should be able to very kindly and without any disrespect tell each other, like, yo, this ain't working out. Partnership, business relationship, whatever, friendship, family ship, all of that. you know like, if it's not working for you, and if it's not going to ultimately be, like, everything can't give you nothing but positives clearly in life. But if it's really a relationship that isn't bringing you anything positive, or you don't see any value, then you got to kind of learn to let it go, and not like do so in a toxic way, but do so in a way where you still can go through your day without feeling bad about letting that relationship or that situation go. Even if it's just because y'all don't get along for something for business, don't mean that y'all can't still get along for friendship or whatever else. And I feel like that's an important thing to keep in mind when dealing with different people and situations.
And also do keep in mind too, like, we're not telling y'all to not take constructive criticism. Be real with yourself. Take the information that's been given to you from that third party, and be honest with yourself and be like, okay, is there something that I really need to be improving in, or is this really somebody being negative and not helpful to whatever I'm trying to do in life? So definitely don't take every piece of criticism that could come off as negative as being a negative. Sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself. Like, okay, especially if a lot of people are telling you that. In the case of this particular situation, like I said, I got maybe 2, 3, 4 no's, but I've gotten like 7, 8 yeses. So obviously, by stats wise, it's not that what I'm doing doesn't bring any value to somebody. It's just that those few people didn't see the value in it. And that's fine. We have to come to a place where we have to be okay with not everybody rocking with us. Because that's just life. Not everybody's going to agree with us.
Sometimes people will see the value in one part of what you do and not the other. Or, like, if you do multiple things, or if they can translate things to being different. And obviously that's going to suck, because you're going to kind of feel like, okay, well, if you trust me for this, like, I have friends that trust me to, like, organize something for them or something, but they probably wouldn't trust me to, like, make them a certain meal. So people are like that. Oh, I only eat such and such from this person, and it's like, which that's kind of different. Food is not the best, because I understand that everybody can't cook. But like, if you would trust me, like, if they're kind of similar, like, if you would trust me to help you with one part of this, then why wouldn't you at least give me the opportunity with this other thing? Like, at least like, as though this sounds so bad, but at least give me the opportunity to fuck up at least once before you, like, just completely be like, yeah, nah, I ain't with the shits. But I feel like that's, like, one thing that is important too, is, like,
yeah, and
that's gonna suck. It's gonna feel really crappy.
Yeah, especially when you're starting off, because, like, in my situation, like, oh yeah, we trust you as the t-shirt guy, because you've been doing that and you've proven to us that you can make t-shirts. But when it comes to a newer venture that is still, I would feel like, it's equally as creative, then they be like, I don't know. And then it's whatever. It's fine. You know your work ethic. You know in your head that, for me, I know I produce decent quality t-shirts. My same work ethic is going to display through all other things that I try to touch. I'm not going to do t-shirts at 100% and then try to do, I don't know, podcasting at 20%. That makes no sense. Especially when I personally only try to do things that I really enjoy that brings value to myself.
Yeah.
So if I'm asking if I'm asking for you to do something that I've been a part of, that's because I'm doing something that I'm actually passionate about. Which means if I'm passionate about it, I'm not gonna half-ass it. I'm gonna do it as well as I can do it. And if you have the same mindset, you only do things that you're passionate about, and you give it your 110%, and people don't see that, it's good. It's whatever. Protect your mental, guys. Make sure you are being very positive to yourself. Positive, which be honest with yourself and be positive as much as possible when it comes to your passions. Because if we let people that don't see the value in what you're doing, especially when you're talking to people that don't do anything, it'll turn you into them, and you just be another person that's not doing anything because they demotivated you. And I don't want that for you guys. One of the, I think one of the more attractive things that I think a lot of people like about me, in particular, is the fact that I'll jump off on a limb and do whatever I think I want to do. That is going to bring me value in my life. And I would suggest, I can't tell anybody what to do, but I would definitely suggest that everybody do the same. Find a healthy medium in order to accomplish that goal for yourself.
Yeah. I had to get real close to the mic. That was
Yeah,
an accident.
I'm about to say, she about to tell y'all some real knowledge. She getting super close to this mic.
But yeah, that's a key point. Like what you said.
You had anything else?
I had
in the
more
notes?
to say, but no, not in the notes. We talked about everything I wrote in the notes.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah. Also, don't feel bad. Like we already said this at the beginning, but I still want to say it again. Just because you like, if you do have a moment where somebody says something that it brings you down, that's okay to feel that way. That's okay to be hurt or offended or whatever. Like, don't feel bad for feeling that way. Because that's another thing that we tend to do is, like, we tend to feel crappy because we feel crappy, which is also not good. So, you know, you're human. You're allowed to feel crappy. Well, I'm not human, but y'all are. So, you know, you're allowed to feel crappy for things that make you feel crappy. It's just how it is. And, you know, feel that. Embrace it. And then use that feeling to destroy your enemies.
King's not wrong with that. With the nose, I definitely felt a certain type of way. It made me sad. Especially for the particular people that I got the nose from. That's what makes me even more sad. Because, again, I don't do anything that I don't feel like either brings value to me, won't bring value to me, or bring value to others. So the people that I reach out to is like, I really and truly want to, do content with. I don't ask of people that I don't rock with. So it hurt my feelings, and I felt what I felt. When it comes to dealing with that person again, I'm going to try to make sure that I'm not different to that person, though. They didn't understand what I had going on and I'm trying to do. It's fine. I know, I feel like I just keep saying it's fine, but
it's fine. I'm fine. I'm okay.
But even though I'm being very redundant, this is kind of one of those redundant situations. It really is fine. I felt that way, and like Kinky said, it's fuel to my fire. It's like, cool, you didn't see the value. I'm going to make you see the value. Now I have to work smarter and harder to make you see the value. Now, when it gets to that point where if this is something, now this is the whole topic for another another podcast. Pettiness. Then we move into Aaron's petty side. So, but we should not be petty people. But sometimes, hey, there's a time and place for everything. So if we do get to that point of greatness where it's undeniable of the value that we can bring to each other, now the ball is in my ring, and that's a good place to be when you for sure can show the value, and then now, I guess you're the gatekeeper now.
Yes, which is a terrible thing. Don't gatekeep.
Don't gatekeep unless
You're trying to destroy your enemies. No, but yeah, I said, like, that's just like when I said it, like, the other day. Because it's kind of just like, okay, like, I'm small now, and, that's the thing. People don't see the value in you when you're small. But eventually, I'm not going to be small. And then you're going to want to call me up, and you're going to be like, yo, like, let's do this. Like, you still doing that thing? Bitch, you know I'm still doing it. I see you. I know you seen the 1 million followers. But no, but yeah, like, and then there's that call, and then it's like, okay, well, now I'm booked up for 3 months. Back then I ain't have nothing but time. Now I don't have none. Now I'm, actually kind of stretched thin.
I'm gonna have to
And
pencil
granted,
you in.
granted, I worked to get here. We're not gonna ever deny the work that it takes to even get to that point. But, I'm still working now to stay here. I have to sustain that. So you now have to understand, when I was reaching my hand down, or not even reaching my hand down, but when we were at the same level, and I was like, yo, come with me, and I tried to hold your hand and so we could go through this together, and you decided, nah, like, I'm cool off that. And now that I'm, halfway up the mountain, you want me to reach down, but brother, I ain't got enough rope. Like, we only came with a certain amount. I packed light because this was going to be a long trip, So then that sounds crappy, but it's like, that's what it is at the end of the day. Like, you got to invest in people that invest in you, and don't try to come back and invest in me when my value has shot up and you're like, not to sound ignorant, but when my value has shot up and yours has stayed stagnant, and I was trying to take our value up together, like, you can't, now want, like, it's one of those things where, like, where they tell people, like, now you looking for handouts.
Yeah.
Which, whatever, we all were looking at for handouts at one point. Like, I reach out to people regularly that I'd be shocked some of these people reply with all the, we look at these follower accounts and we sometimes forget that some people are human, and that they do, we hear so many terrible stories, so many horror stories about people, like, once they start to get up there, that we're not used to, like, we don't expect to be able to reach out to these people and actually have these people be receptive. But that's one thing that I've been seeing a lot within the past, like, month or so, that I've been reaching out to different people, is like, people are receptive. Everybody won't be, of course. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if all these people is still doing something, that's what matters. The ones that are receptive.
And the people that understand and that are already on your level, that may have already, in our eyes, made it, they understand too that you still need to work with people at different levels in order to, like, bring yourself goodwill and keep, like, the content flowing. So, moral of the story is, invest in others that invest in you. Don't focus on people that don't want to invest in you, especially when you have already a good team of people that likes what you do and rock with you. Focus on who rocks with you, and leave the people that don't behind in the dust. I'm sure taking that advice will keep your mental health.
Oh, damn it.
Taking that advice will keep your mental health at the best that it can be.
I accidentally made buttermilk earlier, and I forgot to separate it.
Kinky. Kinky, ladies and gentlemen.
I was trying to make whipped cream, and when you whip it too long, it starts to turn into buttermilk. So I meant to separate it so that I had fresh butter and buttermilk. But they were all just sitting in the bowl on the counter because the cupcakes went to Momo's.
I saw that. I was like, I don't know what to do with that.
You should have separated it. You should have asked.
You were gone. I have a hurt finger. I cut my finger open, guys. Bye.